further tribute. Minister of Seniors Affairs.
It's a pleasure to rise today to pay tribute to former MPP Bud Gregory. I would also like to welcome the family and friends of Bud who are here today. I first got to know the name Bud Gregory about 15 years ago when my husband and I, for the first time, became proud homeowners. As it happened, the street that led to my new home was called Bud Gregory Boulevard. Almost every single day for the past 15 years, I have turned on Bud Gregory Boulevard to enter my subdivision. I recall that about that time, I had learned that many of the arterial roads in Mississauga were named after family names of the farmers who owned the surrounding land. These road names recognized the men in the family, but left out the daughters, who, as we know, would give up their maiden names on marriage. In a touching gesture to do right by their daughters, when these farms were sold to builders, the farmers would request that some of the subdivision names be named after the daughters' first names. And so it is in Mississauga. We have main roads named Kennedy and Kawartha, and inside streets with names like Maxine Place and Joan Drive. And so I wondered, who was this Bud Gregory, who had not just his first name on a street, not just his last name, but his full name, Bud Gregory? I figured he must have been somebody of some consequence. This was back in 2002, when Wikipedia wasn't yet the default option. And I have to admit, over the years, every once in a way, driving on the street, I would wonder, who was Bud Gregory? Then in around 2013, after I was elected, I met with a stakeholder who asked if I would like to meet his mother, Irene Robinson. Irene had been the Liberal candidate in Mississauga East way back in 1975. So of course I met her. I remember asking her who she had run against, and she said, oh, a conservative named Bud Gregory. And that is how I finally got to know who Bud Gregory was. While I never had the privilege of meeting him, Milton Edward Charles Gregory preceded me as the representative for Mississauga East by a quarter of a century. He was first elected as the Conservative member for Mississauga East in 1975. Over the years, he served as Chief Whip, Minister of Revenue, and the Solicitor General. But it was in opposition as the transportation critic that Bud shined the most, and those who know him say Bud was the best Minister of Transportation the province never had. Bud was a passionate and forceful MPP and was nicknamed the Mississauga Rattler for his ability to get under the skin of his opponents. A fervent conservative, he once famously remarked, following a heated debate, my friend should not be too insulted. I could have done worse. I could have called him a liberal. But for all his partisanship, Bud took many stands in this legislature that could frankly sit very well with us liberals. For instance, back in December 8, 1977, Bud spoke in favor of freezing property taxes for homeowners who install solar energy, arguing this kind of heating can be used without chemical combustion and the release of harmful chemicals into the environment. And on June 5, 1986, as the transportation critic, he introduced a private member's resolution asking for an Eglinton West rapid rail transit connecting Toronto to Mississauga. And on May 11, 1987, Bud Gregory had this to say, may I say it is a great pleasure to have the opportunity to speak in the throne speech debate with a woman speaker in the chair. It is quite a precedent, and I think it speaks well for the future. He went on to say, perhaps someday we can look forward to even a woman in the leader's chair. Public public transit for Mississauga, keeping seniors in their own homes for as long as possible, a sustainable environment, advancing the role of women in politics are all issues that are important to me today as the MPP for Mississauga East-Cooksville, and it is humbling to know that 2.5 decades ago, Bud was already fighting for these issues. Those who knew Bud knew that he was devoted to his family, friends, and the staff that worked for him, a devotion that was returned in full measure. 15 years ago, when I first wondered who was Bud Gregory, I could not have known that one day I would succeed him as the local MPP and pay tribute to him in this legislature. It is an honor to have had this opportunity. I want to thank his family and assure them that in the years to come, as I make that turn on Bud Gregory Boulevard on my way home, I will think of Bud and his service to our province. I know I speak for all those who knew him when I say he is missed. Thank you.